The Way of Will John.
What is up, people? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm excited. Are you excited? You should be. You should be. Because every week from now on, we are going to be going through a journey, you and I together, every Friday, probably at 8 a.m. Central Time, like a good Kansan boy would, even though I'm not in Kansas. Shout out to Kansas and Missouri. And shout out to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs for being the greatest football team in the world. On this segment and on these segments, we have three different segments, but today what we're going through is They Don't Want You to Know.
They don't want you to know.
Okay, this is a segment where we will be delving into the mysteries of the universe, or any mystery or conspiracy at all, and we're going to solve it. If I can get set up in this chair. Could a chair company send me a chair? Anybody out there? I want my posture to be good. You guys know, do yoga, playing sports, you gotta, let's not get sidetracked, at least not yet. So in this segment, today what we've got is something on Ronaldo. Not Cristiano Ronaldo, the other Ronaldo, because many of you don't remember or don't know about the 2002 World Cup and what happened. But it's nuts, and there's some crazy theories as to what actually happened in the World Cup final. Before getting into that, guys, merch. We don't normally sell merch, but we have merch, and it's badass. Okay, so go right down below. It's probably up on screen if you're just listening to this. Go to the 11th Commandment YouTube channel, check it out, or check it out in the show notes. But specifically, we have a shirt even for this segment. They don't want you to know. I need a button. I've got the Rode Procaster mic. Shout out to Sport T, also another one of our sponsors on the podcast. I should probably just follow the notes. I'm just talking randomly. Oh, there is another thing that I want you guys to know. We have Jim Aframo, who is a leading sports psychologist. He wrote The Champion's Mind, How Athletes Think. Guys, I tried to say it without looking at the notes. It's a really long title. The Champion's Mind, How Great Athletes Think, Train, and Thrive. Okay, I should have been able to remember that, but no big deal. Really, really awesome guy. Really great book. Talk to Olympians, professional athletes, you name it, all that stuff. How to succeed, their mindset, what they're doing. It's all stuff that we love on GoLarami because you can actually take something from it and put it into the game or into your life, whatever it is. So make sure to check that out. We'll probably have the podcast coming out every Wednesday with a guest, at least. You guys know we have Biscuits and Tea with B. Millie and Tyler Back, GK GoLarami, on Mondays. So if you have not checked out a Biscuits and Tea podcast, do it. Do it now. All right, let's get straight into this segment. I need to set the scene for you guys because many of you don't know. In 2002, Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, was by far the greatest player in the world. And this is at a time when, 1998. I'm getting ahead of myself. 1998, he is insane. Zinedine Zidane is also in his more or less prime, I think. He was young then. Anyway, point is, Ronaldo was a badass. I think he won the World Player of the Year in 1997. He won maybe the UEFA Cup back then is what it was called that year or the year before. Like, this guy is ultra level. There wasn't a Messi and a Ronaldo type thing going on at the time. It was Ronaldo. And for those of you that don't know him well, we're probably throwing up clips of him. The guy was a beast. You guys have no idea. You don't really understand. We had never seen a player like him. Power, speed, precision, creativity, off the charts. Just an insane dude. Didn't really like to train as much as he probably should have. He had a bunch of knee injuries, all that stuff. But let's set the actual scene, the scene of a possible crime. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that there was a crime, but there could be, and we'll get into this. Brazil had made it to the World Cup final. France had also made it to the World Cup final. The World Cup was in France in 1998. Ronaldo was in great form the entire time, but right before the final, his name disappeared off of the team sheet for who was going to be playing or even starting, in the match. And it didn't make any sense to anyone. So everybody started freaking out, trying to figure out what the hell happened. It would be like, can you imagine if Cristiano Ronaldo got to the World Cup final and then just a few hours before his name just disappeared off the sheet and there was no explanation? That's exactly what happened. Okay. So we were all freaking out. The whole world is trying to figure out what's happening. And let me give you guys the official story as to what happened. All right. Sometime after lunch on the day of the final, Ronaldo had a severe fit while he was at the team hotel. He started having a seizure. He was actually foaming at the mouth. And his roommate at the time was Roberto Carlos, who screamed out of his mind for help from apparently Edmundo and Cesar Sampaio. Those guys ran into the room, and then somebody apparently applied first aid to some level. I don't know to what sort of medical level Roberto Carlos had at the time. But anyway, they tried, because he was having a seizure, they tried to keep his tongue out of his mouth and from him biting and swallowing it. Then he supposedly fell asleep, and then the medical team got there, right? So they had this doctor. This dude's name is Lidio Toledo. So they came in, they checked him, something like this. The doctor left crying, which is automatically a huge problem, because if you're a team doctor, imagine you're a team doctor for Brazil. How is it possible that you're crying? I mean, I get it. It's a very emotional thing, but you're the doctor. You can't cry. How? I mean, you think you're screwed if the doctor cries. Anyway, he left because the doctor, after he sorted him out, he thought that everything was really, really serious. When Ronaldo woke up, he didn't know what happened, and they wouldn't tell him what happened. So I don't know if he had amnesia or if he didn't know what was going on. We still don't know what exactly happened. But this is what they're saying. These are the events, and this is how it kind of went on. And then after a while, it became obvious to him that something had happened, because he had a seizure and foaming and whatever. They told him what happened, and then Toledo, the doctor, took him to the hospital to have neurological and cardiac tests. So everything came back clear, supposedly, and then Ronaldo was put back into the team lineup. All right. That is more or less the story that we have been given. All right. So now we're going to delve into whether or not we believe them, if there could be something to all the other things going on. And before we even get going, I don't want to cloud your judgment. I want you guys to kind of tell me if you think something could have happened. But it's kind of like I'm not comparing the two in the same sense, but as far as the event, it's kind of like the Kennedy assassination. Is it possible that one man shot Kennedy and that was it? Yes, it's possible. Are there a lot of other things that look shady around it? For sure. And that's kind of what we got going on here. So the very first theory that we're going to get into is, some people have said that he had a negative reaction to a knee injection that he was getting. Because like I said, the guy had a bunch of knee injuries. I don't remember what number knee injury he was on. The guy just kept doing his knee in. It was just a normal thing. And then he'd be out for, if this guy played all the games that all of modern day players are playing, and he was healthy, he'd probably have 2 million goals. That's not an understatement. Like, he would. So anyway, that's the first. It's simple. It could have happened just like that. I just I don't know, The next one is, of course, the idea that there's some foul play, that somebody poisoned Ronaldo. How exactly, we're not sure. But before we delve into whether or not this guy got poisoned in this one, are there other cases of poisoning out there in the football world? And has it happened in the World Cup before? The defense, would I be the defense or the prosecution? I'm not really arguing for either side here. I'm just trying to figure out what's happening. But I'll be the prosecution. I'll be the prosecution. Okay. The prosecution would like to divert the jury. I'd be a shitty lawyer. Just first off, mainly because I'd be bored. But the prosecution would like to direct the jury and your attention to evidence 1A, B, 6, 9, The 1990 World Cup. I'm just going to go ahead and read this. Brazilian defender Branco accused the Argentines of going as far as drugging him with tranquilizers during the second round game between Brazil and Argentina. Branco says that he took a sip from a water bottle supplied by the Argentine team physio Miguel Di Lorenzo, and then later he claimed that it had been spiked. So Argentina won the game. They ended up winning the game by a single goal, and it happened after the incident. So this guy was on the field. Imagine somebody from the other team hands you a drink of water, and then later on they score. This is apparently how it happened. It was against the run of play, so who knows? But anyway, 2 days later, Branco comes out and says that he felt dizzy after drinking the water. It's not 100% clear that that's the greatest case. So I do have another one. So the prosecution would like you to go ahead and look at evidence bracket on the docket 6A37B, which has to do with Tottenham and Arsenal, which if you guys are fans of B&T, you guys know that we slammed Arsenal for complaining back when Arsene Wenger hadn't brought them another EPL title, and now they're somewhere near the relegation zone, even though they just beat Chelsea right now. I'm an Arsenal fan. I like Arsenal. Now what? You losers. You are losers. But got to be grateful for what you got. So anyway, we're going to go back now to 2005, 2006. Tottenham, obviously an Arsenal rival. They were about to qualify for the Champions League, I think, for the first time. And yes, it is for the first time. All they needed to do was to match whatever Arsenal did in their final game. So here's what happened. They were staying in a hotel in Canary Wharf. What a ridiculous name. Number of key players in the Tottenham squad. Robbie Keane, I think, Michael Carrick. I can't remember all the name, but the core of the team, they got violently ill. Violently ill. I don't know exactly what's happened. They were definitely throwing up. I don't know if there was some diarrhea involved. I don't think there were any seizures, but they got really, really sick to the point that they actually could not play. The whole team was gutted. It says that, and I quote, "Key players became violently ill after eating what was identified as dodgy lasagna." I shouldn't laugh. That's not funny. Right? It's not funny. Food poisoning is horrible. I don't know if you guys have ever had like a serious case of food poisoning, but you do not want to move. And you can have, like, I've had food poisoning so bad from, I got it from vegetable type thing one time. It's the most recent. It's been a while. It's been a few years now, but I definitely was spinning. Like, the world was spinning. It was bad. So anyway, the point is the Premier League actually rejected their request to postpone the game. So Tottenham asked to postpone the game because so many of their players were just freaking out. And basically, conspiracy theorists have concluded that it is some sort of strategic sabotage move by Arsenal, who would, of course, benefit if Tottenham lost. And they did. Tottenham lost. They lost to West Ham. And yeah. So anyway, my point is that it's possible to poison people. People get poisoned, and you can probably poison a team. There, 100%, if we go and we look right now for more poisonings, for sure, it's happened, for sure. So also, if you guys are basketball fans, and I have not watched that new Michael Jordan, somebody comment below whether or not it's worth it for me to actually look at that. I know everybody was just like, you gotta watch that, bro. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it, dog. I didn't watch the Michael Jordan Bulls scream at me loud enough. Maybe I'll check it out. But he was also supposedly poisoned by pizza, and they said it was the flu. And I remember that. I remember that time. Like, the dude looked bad. Something definitely happened. Whether or not he was poisoned, I don't know. But I think it's definitely happened. So maybe that was it. Maybe he was just poisoned before the game. They gave him a seizure, and it's just, that's a dangerous thing, though. Who's poisoning, because you could kill someone. You could kill them, you know? And now you're looking at something way crazier. So if you're poisoning people, like, wow, you know. Ronaldo was in Brazil, from what I understand. He went out for a nice night out of the town, just enjoying himself. He found some company, some lady friends that he thought would be nice to bring back to his hotel. I think it was a hotel. And so he did that. And what happened was when he got back to the hotel, they said, hey, Ronaldo, we're not girls. We're guys. And so he decided that was going to be the end of their nightly entertainment. Can you imagine this dude showing up at home? He must have been drunk. I don't know if the guy did drugs at all. I'm not saying that that is what led to it, but what a surprise. So what ended up happening in that scandal was that I think they wanted to be paid for their nightly work. And I think he said no and kicked him out. And I'm not sure exactly what happened. We can pull up this stuff. We'll do one of these. We'll do the next podcast. We'll do it with our podcast producer, Paulus from Lithuania, so that we can pull up information and stuff like that. But what a crazy story that was. Anyway, to come back to this and exactly what happened here, and we'll get to the conclusion of what we really think might have been the case. There's another theory out there that says that Ronaldo had or has a disease that he's kept secret for his entire life. I don't know all the anecdotal evidence that is pointing to the fact that this could have been possible. I mean, the guy was not fragile and also fragile in the same sense. I mean, having at least 3 knee surgeries. He retired early. He gained some weight and that kind of did some things. But I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm pretty sure. This one I will look up because the guy is crazy. He kind of reminds me of James Bond, Zinedine Zidane now. Zinedine Zidane. I'm just going to say it first and then we'll confirm. He had some sort of genetic, not disease, but condition. I think chronic fatigue syndrome, but to a crazy level. And they kept that hidden. Chronic fatigue syndrome treatments that are available on the market. However, Zinedine Zidane, yes, possibly this guy and fibromyalgia. I don't know. We're getting way off topic here. I don't care because you guys know that I'm just trying to learn. I don't really care about you. It's not true. I care about you. I care about you're happy or not. I just don't care what you want on this podcast. I just hope you enjoy it. Yeah. All right. Well, I can't really find what's going on there. So let's go back to our next theory. I just want to bring you guys evidence 0.6A37DXR. Roberto Carlos said that he would catch Ronaldo crying from time to time in his room. So it's also possible that there was just something going on life-wise, that could have been causing all this that we don't know, whether that's stress or I don't know, man. Another thing, rumors also circulated that it was Ronaldo's job to mark Zinedine Zidane at the corners. Both Zidane scored off headers. I don't know. I should go back and look, or maybe we can throw that up. We'll do that some other time. I don't know. But I do remember the headers being really, emphatic. The dude got in and he hit him, and it was sick. No one was thinking about this. Ronaldo played awful by comparison. He didn't really do that much. He was a complete shade of himself in the final, so that's for sure. Supposedly, they said he was supposed to. This is the FIFA part, all right, people? This is the FIFA part. He was supposed to mark Zidane on the corners. That's what they said. That was the thing. It would have been a good matchup, more or less. They should be able to handle each other. And he let him go somehow. So I don't know whether or not there could be any truth to that. But they're saying that this situation was part of a bigger fix involving FIFA and an 18 million pound, why can't I say that? Pound bribe. All right. they're claiming that this one is the craziest one of all, but the idea that there wasn't some money flowing from FIFA with regards to, because you guys got to remember, you get a lot of money and a lot of things happen when countries are gifted the World Cup. A lot of things happen. So this did happen. Brazil did win the 2002 World Cup, and it was in Brazil in 2014, right? So, but there was a congressional hearing on this, or I think it was a congressional inquiry. So, and they asked Ronaldo this. They asked him, was it your task to mark Zidane? And he said he didn't remember. So with all the other things that are going on with this guy, I don't know. It's possible that he didn't remember, but I think he would remember. If maybe he doesn't want to say, but if it's your job to mark a guy and he scores 2 goals in the World Cup final, you remember. You'd remember that. So, guys, that's more or less, these are the theories outside. What is it that I think happened? And people ask the Brazilian guys all the time, the people that were there, what happened and all these things. And Ronaldo's been asked, and he gives this series of events. I think that it's most likely that the more or less that he did have that seizure. He did have something like that happened. It wouldn't make sense for them to make that up. By the way, the French players, Robert Pires, thought that they were bluffing. They thought that when they took him off the sheet, that it was some sort of tactic by Brazil, and then to put him back on right before. Because obviously, if you're France, you don't want the guy to play, but they thought they were, faking it. This would all probably could have been the case if Ronaldo was actually balling in that game, but he was not. There was clearly something wrong. I think there's something to the theory, or essentially the main series of events that says that he had a seizure and all that stuff. I think all of that happened. I think not to ignore Nike wanting him to play. I don't know how much control over that they could have had, to what extent. I think it would have been in their best interest that he does play. He was wearing these badass shoes that people keep. Nike keeps re-putting these shoes out because they are that badass. I don't understand why they don't just have a standard form of these shoes. We can put these shoes up on the screen right now. Oh my God. When those things came out. Wow. And then the FIFA thing. I think FIFA was probably up to something. I think that's why in 2015 or whenever the FIFA scandal broke, we were seeing an accumulation of all of the corruption that had probably been happening over the years that we just weren't aware of. And it got to a point that it was so vast and so wide, and it's also widely considered that there was probably a bit of, how to say this, there's probably some interesting tactics, once again, used to get the World Cup into Qatar in 2022, which is going to be a crazy World Cup, too. The fact that it's going to be in the winter, we're already 2 years away. We're less than 2 years away from the World Cup in Qatar. How nuts is it going to be? It's not going to be hot, they said, and they were going to put air conditioning inside the stadiums and all this stuff. It's so far away. There's been all sorts of issues in building because the people that were building these things are foreigners in Qatar. They were supposedly taking their passports away from them and keeping them there as slaves, not paying them. Then people were dying. I don't think it's going to be a shit show. I just think that it's a really weird... It is a weird one. It's good that it's over there. I mean, we need to keep spreading the World Cup all around the world. It's just when there's so much money involved in it, we all know they're just messing with shit. But anyway, this has been They Don't Want You to Know. There are some other mysteries that we can dive into. We will get more in depth in this. We're going to bring in a podcast producer, we'll bring in some consultants, and we'll bring in you guys. All right, so you guys can actually have your say on what's going on. Please comment down below. And tell me if you think the guy was poisoned. Tell me if you think Nike did it. Just do it. Nike did it. That'd be a nice shirt. Speaking of shirts, get your merch right down below. Check out goldarmy.com. We're going to make a nutrition video also for the main channel. Make sure to subscribe. All right. This is enough. I need a board. All right. Love you guys. Peace.